There are many ways people can get involved in the legislative process. And a group of students from the Corrales International School, that's a charter school in Albuquerque, applied what they were learning about state government this year by writing a bill that was sponsored by State Senator John Sapien. Now, SB 470 would give schools the option of using what's called short cycle assessments to test students on their improvement over the course of a year. For the People, Power, and Democracy Project, our producer Sarah Gustavus recently visited the students in their classroom and then followed them to the Capitol, where they testified before the Senate Education Committee about how they would change student and teacher assessments.
Our students in government, the state standards ask them to learn how a bill is made and the process of what a bill goes through to become a law. And also they look at civic duties and responsibilities, and so I thought those tied in nicely with creating a bill. So I challenged my students to write a bill this year. I said, you guys as a class can make the decision of what you want the bill to be. It originates from something that you see that needs to be changed or something that you see that's not being done that needs to be done, and it needs to kind of be on a subject that they have a lot of knowledge about.
Okay, guys, listen up. We've got several things to talk about.
So through a series of brainstorming, they kind of arrived at the idea of student testing. And along with that, they kind of added in teacher evaluation systems as well.
And so what we're falling back into again is that debate over the testing.
A lot of students, they don't like to be taking tests that take forever and don't really count and stuff, but this helps them understand that it does count and that it does matter to them.
A lot of times students don't really care in tests. They're like, oh, again, and they don't really care, but because like the park is like almost the same thing every year.
They are tested a lot. This group, they are juniors and they are coming to the end of that cycle, but they understand and they feel the frustration of what it's like to have so many tests and even not so much the tests themselves as to how those tests are used and what purpose do they serve. That they're at that age where they're thinking about like the next step, college, and how does this test help me, to be a better college student or to get a career, or how can I use this? And so I think there was a lot of frustration on their part, and that just kept coming up, and finally they just said, okay, so what could we do to make some changes? So what was our solution to that problem?
For our bill, we put a test at the beginning of the year and a test at the end of the year to see how much that student has grown.
Absolutely, we're certainly trying to make some changes that would help students be evaluated much more accurately, as well as teachers.
My role's been percentages on teachers' evaluation.
Teacher evaluation is evaluated poorly. It's not fair because if the teacher leaves for 1 year, the new teacher that's coming this year gets evaluated for something that she didn't teach.
I expected that there would be some revisions, but not as many as we've been doing. That's certainly true.
At first, we didn't think like it was gonna even get this far, and now it's like, dang, it's real,
I already mentioned this, but all gentlemen must have jackets. We know that already. She's attached a copy of the Legislative Education Study Committee bill analysis, and that's what we were waiting for, was the analysis.
I stayed up kind of late last night to try and prepare for it. I was reading through the bill and taking notes, trying to think of stuff that they might ask. We never thought that we would get to this place at all, so just even presenting is really cool. Testing is important because there has to be a sense of accountability and making sure that students do know what they're being taught. I think the amount of testing needs to be changed, and I think there should be more access to the results from tests as soon as possible after the test, because right now it takes months after the test is over to get results, and the results are only if you passed or failed.
So I had the opportunity to chair education for 4 years, so very familiar with the kind of the inner workings. What we'll do when we first get in is when they bring our bill up, I'll go to the front with our two spokesmen here. You guys will sit next to me. I'll introduce the basics of the bill to the committee, and then I'll hand the floor over to each of you individually, and then you guys will present what you feel your talking points on the bill.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Samuel Dennison. I'm an 11th grade at Corrales International School.
Mr. Chairman and rest of the chairman, my name is Isaiah Barraza. I go to Corrales International School and I am an 11th grader.
So this bill, first and foremost, aims to change the way the state testing is.
So 25% for teachers' evaluation.
One of the main things that this bill has to include is the way that students are no longer feel so adverse towards these forms of testing.
This is something us as students we wanted to change.
I expected that it was going to be tough, and I knew I was going to get nervous because, I mean, there's a whole bunch of people in front of us judging what we're saying and what we did and all the time we put into it.
An hour a day.
They did ask some pretty tough questions. As we were presenting, I saw that there were some areas in the questions that they had, but how they put it on household, table hold.
It is kind of disappointing that this might be the end of the bill, but we know that by creating this bill, maybe we're making a spark in the legislatures that will, in the future, help them to create a bill similar to ours.
I have a younger sister, her name's Linnea. I thought about it because I know that she's gonna be here too, and I'm hoping if we get this passed, it'll help her out too.
I felt like we're doing something that's important, and it's not just another boring school project. It actually means something.
For them, a lot of times they get in their heads that they can't really make a difference until they're an adult, but I think these kids are starting to see now that they have a power. They do have power, and they have a voice, and they need to use that. Not just to lodge complaints about what they don't like, but to offer solutions to the problems. And I think that's just a whole new level, and I think it's a really good role model for other students and for adults to look at. You know, it's not about just talking about what's wrong. It's about, hey, how can we fix what's wrong, you know, logically.